Good morning, everyone. This is Corin, your friendly neighborhood TalentBin product specialist, and today I'm going to be showing you how the non-integrated email outreach workflow works with the messaging templates in TalentBin. This video is not going to cover how to create your messaging templates. That's covered comprehensively in another TalentBin support video. So if you don't have an outreach template set up yet, go ahead and take a look at that video and create one. Don't worry, I'll wait. All right, excellent. So now that we've got a template and we've got some candidates ready to reach out to, let's go ahead and just jump right in. So I'll pull up our first one here. The example position that I'm working on is just a standard Java software developer, with some front-end skills requirements. So I just pulled John here out of a example search that I had created previously. So now let's take a look at kind of what we're going to be putting into our messaging and how that outreach will look. As you know, the most important thing when reaching out to passive candidates like you see in TalentBin is to make sure that our initial messaging is customized towards that individual. It has some of their actual web activity and ideally a little bit of personal information on them as well to help build some rapport and get them interested in writing back to you so that we're not just firing off stock templates into the internet. So for John here, since we're looking for Java and some front-end skills, we'll take a look at those relevant skills. So Java, you can see he's got quite a bit of activity on Stack Overflow and GitHub, primarily GitHub it looks like. And then, JavaScript, CSS, some other front-end type skills as well. He's got some pretty heavy levels of activity on those two sites, so that'll be a good thing to reference. Also, if we're looking for some personal information on this candidate, we can click over to the Other Interests tab. I see a good one here that we can grab onto as musician. It looks like he's mentioned in a couple places that he used to be a musician, so that'll be a nice little touch that we could add to our message as well. So once we have that activity, now we can go ahead and send our message. So when we select Contact, up here in the top right, our lovely green button, we'll have all of our different outreach methods, and in this case, since email is what we're interested in, let's go ahead and select his email address, and it will open up our list of available templates. Now this is our Java front-end template that I had created previously. You'll notice when we hover over this template, we get a little notification telling us that this template will be copied to our clipboard just before we reach out so that we have that messaging ready and at our fingertips. So we go ahead and select it, and then it will launch a mail to link, which will feed us into whatever your default email client is. Now in my case, since TalentBin Mail runs through Google Apps Enterprise, it gave me a Gmail message compose screen. If your email goes through Exchange Web Services or Office 365 or some other flavor of Outlook, you will have, rather than this screen, you will be seeing a new message compose screen in your Outlook. But either way, it'll be an email directly from your email client, and then the candidate's email address will be loaded in, ready for you to reach out. So now all we have to do is just put our cursor in the body of the message and go ahead and paste that template that we pulled over from TalentBin. And this is where we can make our last couple tweaks, make sure that the email messaging contains that bit of candidate-specific information. So in this case, we'll want to remove this first blocked out section and mention where we found some of their activity. I was just cruising around the web on GitHub and noticed you've been working with a lot of Java and front-end code. And then, make any tweaks that we would want to. Make sure that it all grammatically works together. Clean up this last little bit since we don't need it here. Fairly simple message, only took me about 20 seconds to write, but is mentioning some activity specific to him, and still has, our careers page and enough of my information for the candidate to reach out to me if the message sounds interesting to them. And then the last piece is our subject line. This is a really great place to put in some of that personal information. So, Java and music, what a combo. Fairly simple, but both of these things are, interests the candidate himself has expressed interest in. So this will be a good kind of hook to get the person engaged and willing to actually reach out to us and find out a little bit more. You notice this email only took me about 30 to 40 seconds to write. It's a very quick per candidate, but the difference that you'll have in your response rate by adding these little bits of personalization are going to be fairly significant. So when we're actually ready to reach out, we just hit send. This message will be sent from your email. It'll show up in your sent messages folder just as any other email that you write from your computer. But then the key is, once we send the email and we go back to John's TalentBin profile, you'll notice the system is asking us if we actually reached out. Let's go ahead and say yes, we did send him a message. If we select this always assume I contacted the candidate box here, then the system will skip this dialog box and it'll just automatically assume that we said yes. And when we do that, you'll notice a couple things have happened to this individual. We get our little notification at the top reminding us that we reached out. The candidate's stage has been changed to attempting to contact so that we don't have to loop back around and manually note the fact that we sent them a message. And then in the history section in the bottom right, that activity has also been recorded for us, both for your own kind of workflow so that you know who you've reached out to and when, and also if you're working in a multi-seat bin so that you can avoid stepping on the toes of the other recruiters who are working simultaneously with you. And that's really as simple as that. So now we're done with John. We sent him our message. We'll want to loop back around in a few days and send a follow-up email if we haven't heard back from him yet. You can either leave yourself a task to give yourself a reminder to send that candidate a message, or we can just go in through our dashboard, and the dashboard will populate, remind us to reach out to candidates that we've reached out to previously, make sure that we're not dropping balls with anybody we've previously engaged with. And that's the non-integrated email outreach workflow in TalentBin. If you have any questions or problems on anything you've seen here, definitely don't hesitate to reach out to support@talentbin.com, and we have product specialists standing by to help out and make sure that everything is running smoothly for you. Thank you very much for your time.